call this meeting to order. I show it to be 5:06, November 9th, 2021 special meeting. New business discussion with Jim Gazay, Jim Gazay regarding Kiwanis in Elliott County. Jim has brought some folks with him, Ashlyn Grayson, and we have an Elliott County native here, Ms. Stephanie Kidd, who is also on this train. So Jim, you and your folks take it away.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate the invitation and being allowed to make a presentation to the court. As the judge says, I'm Jim Gazay. I am the current vice governor in the Kiwanis, Kentucky, Tennessee district. Along with me tonight, I have our current governor, Lynn Hutchinson, of the district. And we have two members of that. I think some of you may know one of them, I don't even know the other one. This is the newest club in Eastern Kentucky, the Carter County Club. And we have the president, Stephanie Kidd. Stephanie, stand up.
Hi.
All right. Then next to her is the past president and current secretary, Willis Johnson. And Willis has connections here too. His dad was the sheriff back in the 40s. But
Granddad.
Oh, granddad, I'm sorry, his granddad. Back in the 40s was his dad was the sheriff. Yeah. But, so we know across the Carter County then, and connections who have connections to other counties as well. And first off, I'll go over for you to do a quick brief on what Kiwanis is. After I get done with that, Lynn's going to come up and she's going to get into a little bit more detail on the clubs and services that we do within the school system. And then after that, we'll have a question and answer session if you have any questions. And we'll have Stephanie and Willis here addressing questions that are open in the club. But first off, I was talking to the high school in Morgan County this morning. And it was a veterans thing. But, you know, I transitioned to that, and I was talking to them about service. You know, there's no greater thing we can do than service to the community. And you take that and drop that down and do it to children, that's even a greater service. Because that's our future. And that's what Kiwanis is about. Kiwanis is a global, it's an international organization that's dedicated to improve the lives of children in each community in which we work in. And so that's what we want to do here in Elliott County. We want to bring that to you. Who we work with, schools, hospitals, governments, nonprofits, corporations, foundations, these have all reaped the benefits of working with the Kiwanis Club. Let's say over in West Summit, we partner with our tourism, the car show we do first part of the summer, that's sponsored with tourism, Kiwanis does it. The 4th of July, Main Street stuff, Kiwanis does that. And we work the fireworks show and work with them to bring the bands in. We provide the manpower. And that's what, you know, Kiwanis can do in your community. Our hands-on service projects are estimated to have saved communities more than $43 million in labor costs alone. And by working together, we can have an even bigger impact on the community than what we can do back here in Elliott County. Working in collaboration, Kiwanis clubs have access to playgrounds. That's our big thing. We like to build playgrounds. We like to build a lot of stuff. The swimming pool in Morgan County. Anybody over here ever went to Morgan County and used the swimming pool? That was built in the late 50s by the Kiwanis Club. And it still exists out today. We still help them run it. We don't own it anymore. We turned it over to the county, but that was an original Kiwanis project. That's the kind of thing that you can really big and work on. Each club gets the signature project, and that'll be up to your club to get started what they want to do. But there's so much more that you can do. From working with backpack programs, we supply that. We work with food banks. We work with the school system to provide shoes for kids. One of our programs, we provide the school resource office a card, a credit card, or a debit card. They have money on it. We put money on that. And if there's a kid that comes in there and needs shoes, that teacher was able to go on Amazon or go to Walmart or wherever and get shoes and have it there needed, or have them on site ready to go. So those kids are taken care of as soon as possible. Kiwanis programs for youth, and she'll get more into this, and then when she comes up, but they create the next generation of leaders in the community. When we go into the school system and put these, and build these in, and the club working with them, that's what will create your next generation of community leaders. This is the Kiwanis Club, the E clubs, the action clubs. Kiwanis serve outside their communities. Kiwanis raised $100 million for UNICEF to eliminate the iodine deficiency disorders. And is currently working with UNICEF to raise $110 million to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus worldwide. That's our global outreach programs. So here we are, working in West Liberty, Grayson. We want to come here and work in Elliott County and Sandy Hook, but we also work on a global scale as well. Partners with Kiwanis. We like to work with other organizations that share our values, especially is we partner with EKCC, North Prison. We partner with tourism. On a bigger scale, Kiwanis International, we work with landscape structures for playgrounds. They give us a nice discount on the playgrounds. They're working with us on that. The U.S. Army is one of our partners. Nickelodeon, Sister Cities International, Boy Scouts, Marching Bands, IHOP, and then you build your own relationships with businesses and organizations here in your community. Service projects. We have 1 year with over 18 fundraisers, raising money, which means they turn that money back around and put it back into the community. Service projects. Maybe some of them, the shoe program. Stephanie, over in Carter County, what's your big service project right now?
Our service project, we're working on handicap equipment for the playground over at the new Grayson Flexform. We are actually was able to get one piece of equipment donated through the Kiwanis at a value of over $8,000 for a spinner. So it's amazing how expensive that playground equipment is, but when you look for handicap or anything that has the durability of it, it lasts for a long time. So we're actually in the process of fundraising for a handicap swing that would allow an individual of wheelchair basis that would go onto the swing and be universal with other children. That swing value is around $50,000. So that's what we're fundraising right now, that we're working with grants and so forth. We actually made a visitation over in the Ashland City Park today to actually look at the project and to actually see it. They just bought a new playground equipment through PlayPro that we purchased their equipment through, and they are actually installing the swing right now. So it's a massive piece of equipment, but it's going to be very beneficial to multi-person children. So when you go to the playground and see a playground full of children of all ages, disabilities, and being able to play together as one, it's just phenomenal. The demonstration that we've seen today, it was valued over $320,000 worth of equipment that was being installed. Grayson is a little bit smaller scale, but we're hoping to get there. So we're in the process of working on that. So.
Thanks, Stephanie. Appreciate it. Maybe you get anything? What's your signature project in Ashland?
We don't have a one thing signature project. Our signature project is working with the youth. And when I talk to you, all the TRICO boards are coming from clubs that my Ashland Breakfast Club sponsors. So you'll hear a lot more from me in just a few minutes.
But it's our love for kids. So that's the core part of our whole club. Is the love for kids and what we do to get them better off. Cost involved in starting a new club. Well, we will help with that. You're going to be sponsored by Grayson and by West Liberty. And I think Sidersville is going to come on board. So the new club, the expenses are just going to be their own dues, membership and all that. We will get your charter fees with West Liberty and Carter County and over McDonald County. Any questions about that?
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Why now?
Why now?
Why hasn't it been in the past?
I think I've heard historically they have tried to come in here before. I don't know what the history was in that, but it didn't happen. I know why I'm pushing it. The reason I'm pushing growing Kiwanis is because all our service clubs, Lions clubs, Rotary, and the Kiwanis too, those are disappearing all over the United States. And I think that's a great loss to communities. You used to have a Lions Club here, right?
Correct.
Where's that now?
Good question. So I ask you, why now?
Has that Lions Club's gone? What about your women's club? Is it still active?
I think there was a Kiwanis here, I believe.
No,
There
there's
was never one.
never been a Kiwanis.
That was a Lions Club.
There was a Lions Club, and that was it.
That was in the early 80s, Lions Club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a long time. That's why I'm asking, why now?
because these communities need Kiwanis, kids need Kiwanis, that's why.
I have a question. Do you already have people tapped to be members of this club?
No, this is our first meeting, and this is where we come here first, and then we'll come back, and if you have recommendations of who would like to join, that's great.
How many typically sit on like a board or a panel or whatever?
Well, your typical club, you gotta have at least 15 to get the charter. I'd recommend that you try to start with at least 30, because you'll have attrition. You get below charter strength. Your board, your club will decide that. That's usually your president, your vice president, your secretary, your treasurer, and then you'll pick out some members of the club to sit on the board as well. So it could be 7 or 8. And that's all, they all come from within the club.
Okay.
So you're saying it's simple, all we need to do is find 30 people that want to do something that cares for kids. Should be a simple task. shouldn't it?
It should be a very simple task. We found 30 people, and we can get this going. And once you get that club started, then she'll tell you what you're doing, because it'll keep growing. It'll go into what she's going to be talking about with all this.
What's the cost?
Interesting.
The cost, you need dues. The club will set that up. There'll be a structure that's, it's given. And there's ways to make it reasonable for your members. And like over with Circuit, we go out, not under the Kiwanis banner, but we go out and work, volunteer at an event, and serve hamburgers or something like that, or another organization, and then they pay us, and we take that and put it into our administrative fund, which helps pays our dues. So we keep those limited to about $55 a month at our club. Each club is different, and that's going to be determined by them how they do it. And within that, you're going to get those dues. The internationals will give you your insurance, your liability insurance, your board of directors insurance. So that comes down to you get the magazine, and it comes to the mailbox. So there's benefits to that insurance is a big benefit, especially if you're hosting events like we do, when we do the Main Street stuff, 4th of July, car shows and all that. As long as it's in your minutes, in your board of directors minutes, that you approve hosting that club, that's going to protect you, and you'll follow the insurance off that liability. Anything else before we jump into the?
Again, will get more information be available to us?
Oh yeah, this is just a slide brief. We'll give you some more, and we'll come back with more pamphlets and more information.
I do have just a general question.
Yes, sir.
Does the Kiwanis Club operate under the fiscal court?
No,
It's completely.
it's a
separate
complete separate entity. It's just like the Lions Club that was here before. It's a separate entity. We just came here to talk to you first, get some television exposure, get the word out, and plus, I mean, all of you sitting here, you are servant leaders in your community.
While you're here at the fiscal court, can you tell us what the fiscal court say in Lawrence County, Carter County, Morgan County, what their involvement is with the Kiwanis in their area?
Well, sometimes we have the judge executive that sets, in Morgan County, we've had a judge executive be a member. That we work with the fiscal court. Like right now, we're in Morgan, we work with the fiscal court to help them run the swimming pool.
But you're not funded through the fiscal court in any of those counties?
No, we're not funded with the fiscal court in any way whatsoever. We raise our own money through our projects that we set up to raise that.
Just in follow-up to Pam's question, though,
Yeah.
it's not something that you're seeking funding for.
No, I'm not seeking any help. I am not seeking any funding. I should have made that the first statement. Good question. No, I am not seeking any funding. I repeat that. No, we will fund once we get those volunteers together. And those volunteers, one Kiwanian volunteer on average has an effect upon 206 kids. That's on average, globally. And we do that by our work that we put into the money that we raise. I mean, we fund medical equipment. Kiwanis in West Liberty, we've sent kids to hospitals, Shriners Hospital, we work, the Cincinnati Children's Hospital. We've got parents get paid their way if they got to stay at home, at Palace House, or other hotels. So this little things like that means a lot to those parents.
Yes. I asked him to come tonight. We've been bouncing this back and forth since before, it's probably back in the summer, whenever we first began this discussion. This is something I feel that needs to be given the opportunity to begin and grow in Elliott County. One of the biggest reasons I asked him to come tonight, we kind of set up a meeting time anyway, but us being members of the community, servants of the community, servant leaders of the community, I think this is ideally what we do, is this kind of program. And in taking the initiative to try to be a catalyst here in Elliott County to get this going, I think this would be a great opportunity for Jim, Lynn, and the other folks to actually discuss it. Now, moving forward, the fiscal court, obviously, in my opinion, we should support it being servant leaders in the community by trying to get some folks to get on board to help. Because if you look at Kiwanis International, you look at Kiwanis does locally, this is about children. And I think we need to help them get a leg up all that we can. This can go along with your family programs that Missy Simmons has here at school, Missy and Christy, Natalie, those ladies. This can also probably work in tandem with some of the Christian Center things that they do. When one support network gets a little, I guess, low on things that they can use to help in a program, Kiwanis can actually go along with that and say, listen, we have this opportunity here as well. The fiscal court can be involved because we see things in our community that where need is. We are the first people in a lot of cases that get the phone call. My office gets those calls. You folks get them on your cell phones and at home. Hey, I had a need here, and you go, I wish I could help you. Well, Kiwanis is another branch of service that we can offer to provide for our folks here at home with just donations, but moreover, bodies that can get involved and actually step in and assist those families that may have that need. If you have a child that has a medical, he goes back to the Shriners. No, you see the Shriners commercials where they say no child gets a bill from Shriners. However, where are you going to sleep while your child is in that hospital?
Exactly.
What are you going to eat? What gas money do you have to get to that Shriners hospital? That's just one example of what Kiwanis can do to assist. And I'll hand it back to you, but that is exactly why I wanted this in this venue to be kind of spoken, maybe announced, if you will, if we support this. And whether the fiscal court as a whole decides to embrace it or not, I still totally support having Kiwanis in the community. I know my wife and I will do everything we can to try to get on board and to assist it and its successful infant stages as hopefully it is accepted in the community.
Yeah. And we don't normally come in front of the fiscal court. We try to come in and talk to you individually and go to talk to the superintendent of schools. And I'll be coming back to do that. I'll be setting up appointments to talk to the superintendents of schools, talking to the board members and other business leaders and community leaders. I'll be coming back to talk to them about it as well as how they can get together to help get this program started. Any other?
Look forward to it.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We need more of these in all our communities.
I think Michael Wagner, Michael works for Elliott County Board of Education. I think he had something to add, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I don't know much about the Kiwanis side of it, but my high school in Louisville had a key club, and it was one of the most popular clubs in the school. It was all centered around community service type of projects, and we would go like once a week down to the Fortunately, the nursing home was close enough for walking distance. We walk down to the nursing home every week and play bingo with the residents down there and just, socialize with them because, they don't get a lot of visitors and things like that. And then every like a season, like Thanksgiving, we had a prom. There's a hospital called Hazelwood Hospital in Louisville. It was for like severely handicapped children. And we would go to the hospital and then have dances and put on dances, for those residents. And it was, it's one of those things where like you get more out of it, you think, than the national residents because, just kind of a good thing to do. And even at that young of an age, I think it's a great project. And the Kiwanis Club was sponsored, I think like two students every week. They would let them come to the meeting, and it was like a Ponderosa kind of type restaurant. And they would buy those students food and let them be part of just see how the Kiwanis side of things went. So, and I think they had a convention every year between. Like we go, so we had a chance to go like Chattanooga, I think they had it, and then Louisville. So that's why I came tonight because I saw that on the list, and I didn't know about the Key Club as far as a school employee. I know I'd be behind this 100%.
I'm glad you're here. That's a great testimony.
Excellent testimony.
It was awesome. It was awesome to be a part of it in our school district.
Well,
When
in this day and age, when kids are so, that's what they're connected to, right? I mean, it's great that we can provide this opportunity, get them out there and teach them about service to others. And that's starting to disappear from our communities. I'm sorry, but it is. And we see it like the Lions Club with all these clubs are going away, and we're losing that connectivity to our community, that ability to build networks within the community and expand it out. And that's what Kiwanis, that's what Key Club, and what Lynn's getting ready to talk about. We're going to build that with our kids. And I'll go ahead and bring Lynn up right now and let her get into that we call SLP, Service Leadership Programs.
Thank you for the opportunity. You'll probably have to calm me down. I was a school teacher for 33 years and then retired and then went back another 10 years and worked part-time. I've been a Kiwanian for over 30 years. I'm rather tenacious in what I do. It took me 3 decades to get that Carter County Club going, but they are going leaps and bounds. This is my 4th decade in Kiwanis, and I'm now the governor of Kentucky, Tennessee, Kiwanis, and I travel all over both states. But my heart began with Key Club. And I'm going to tell you about our sponsored programs. I became a Key Club advisor before I knew what Kiwanis was. So I say I didn't come in a front door or a back door. I sort of came in the side and then learned. And then I've been involved ever since. The motto of Kiwanis is serving the children of the world, but that world could be your world too, right here in Elliott County. Service is at the heart of every Kiwanis club. Kiwanis members stage more than 150,000 service projects, devote more than 6 million hours, and raise nearly $100 million every year for Kiwanis and for Kiwanis children. Our programs for youth and young adults help create that next generation of community leaders. And I'm talking about the ones, now what you'll see are the trifolds that my club and Ashland sponsors, Ashland Breakfast, but there are a couple others I'm going to talk about, and we're working on sponsoring those. But the first is Key Club. Kiwanis came around in 1915. Key Club came around in 1925. Kiwanis used to be all men, so naturally, Key Club was all men, but it was formed by key members, key male students in a high school in Sacramento. And it didn't take long for them to decide that was the way to go. They were working with children. They set up their own agenda. They had their own service projects, things like that. Finally, by about 1977, took a while, they started admitting women into Key Club. And Key Club is now the world's oldest and largest service program for high school students. And the oldest active Key Club in the entire world is in Ashland, Kentucky, Paul Blazer High School. It was formed in the late 1920s, and it's still active. The oldest one that was running not too long ago was out in Sacramento, and it has since closed. Key Club is all over the world in every continent except Antarctica. Has no Key Club. Just to give you an idea of the impact of these young high school students, in 1998, the Key Clubbers raised $1.2 million to help eliminate iodine deficiency orders. High schoolers did that. In 2008, they raised $1.3 million to fight HIV and AIDS in Swaziland. Again, high schoolers all over the world did that. They're now working on an initiative to get clean water in countries that have no safe drinking water. They could probably come do some here in Kentucky too, but they're working on that, trying to do that worldwide. Just a little side, Key Club members pitched in just this past year 12 million hours of service. Look at all those hours. They could have been paid somewhere, but these high school students gave up their time to volunteer in their community. They set their own guidelines, they have their own agenda, they bring in their own programs, they come up with their own service projects. They're generally focused around their area. I don't know if you're familiar at all with Build-A-Bed, but our Boyd County High School Key Club did the bed bundles for the Build-A-Beds that the Kiwanis members and all the community members came in and made beds for children who have never had their own beds. And our Key Club worked together with all the schools in our area and got a bed bundle, which had blankets and sheets and books and stuffed animals and hygiene products and all of that, so that bedspreads, so that when that child took that bed home and that mattress, that child had his or her own little bundle of important things. They did that and won national award across the United States as the #1 Key Club in the world. So I'm proud of that club, because that's a club that brought me to Kiwanis, that Boyd County High School Key Club. Also, the next level is Builders Club. Kiwanis has everybody covered. Builders Club is your middle school version. It's like Kiwanis is the adult, Key Club is your high school, now we're going down to middle school. This group of kids is awesome also. Our club, my club sponsors one Builders Club in Boyd County, but the very first Builders Club in Kiwanis International, sponsored right in Ashland, Kentucky, back when Coles and Putnam Junior High, that was before my day, was there, and they had a club that was called Builders Club, and we had a Kiwanis International president who carried that club concept all the way up to hierarchy. Kiwanis International adopted it, and the middle school, or junior high back then, Kiwanis organization was formed. These young students also choose their service projects. They have their officers. They come up with their programs. They do fundraisers, and they do awesome things. And we're currently getting ready to build one at East Carter Middle School, a Builders Club. Builders Club kids, again, are all over the world. They're in 1,600 clubs in Australia, Canada, Italy, Korea, Netherlands. There are even Builders Clubs on every island in the Caribbean. So if you really want to enter a club with a really group of kids, you want to go to the Caribbean and check out how they're running things. The next group of clubs that we form in our area is K-Kids. And this K-Kids is now your elementary version. You have not lived until you see 4th and 5th graders set up their agenda for what they plan on doing in their meetings. They get their guest speakers come in, they come up with their service projects, and they plan it all themselves. I sat in on trying to with big knitting needles, trying to make plastic mats for the homeless people out of garbage bags, like Walmart and Kroger bags. They were whipping them out left and right, and I couldn't maneuver the big fat pins trying to get the crocheting going. But they were awesome, they were excited, and they did wonderful things. To give you an idea, there are 36,000 members of K-Kids, and the first K-Kid was chartered in 2000, and there are 1,200 clubs worldwide. To give you a little bit about their objects, which are the same objects as Builders Club, the objects of a K-Kids, a Builders Club, and almost every Kiwanis organization to provide opportunities to working together and for our school level in service to school and community, to develop leadership potential, foster the development of a strong moral character, encourage your loyalty to school, community, and nation. Who would not want that for their children? And they build on core values, character building, which is the ability to do the right thing even when it might not be the popular choice. Or leadership, the ability to listen, communicate, serve, and guide others. Inclusiveness, accepting and welcoming differences in other people. Caring, the act of being concerned about or interested in other people or other situations. Those ideals are built in our secondary education programs with leadership.
We don't stop there. We also, when I say we, it's Kiwanis. They're my Kiwanis family, and I guess I'm considered the leader here in Kentucky. So we have a college version called CKI. In Kentucky, we don't have that many college Kiwanis groups, but we have 6 and we're working on more. With Willis, we're talking about starting one at Kentucky Christian, which would be ideal. Again, same leadership qualities. The CKI members, those college group, are dedicated to childhood development, environmental justice, serving those who are food insecure or lack housing and mental health, and they partner with UNICEF USA to raise awareness about the need of clean drinking water all over the world. Everybody's on the same page, and the bottom line is community service and helping others. CK members added another 500,000 hours of community service every year. The newest organization in Kiwanis is called Action, with AKTION, and this is our newest service club, and this is for adults with disabilities. We have more than 12,000 members worldwide, and that mission for the Action Club is to provide adults living with disabilities an opportunity to develop initiative, leadership skills, and to serve their communities. Helps members find purpose, self-worth through park cleanups, food drives, other purposes. It draws members from all various organizations of adults with learning disabilities, and they come together. They have officers, they have an agenda, they have programs, just like any of our groups and just like a Kiwanis Club. Action Club members this past year donated 92,000 hours of community service. When all those service hours of the Kiwanis organization are combined, that total adds up to more than 18 million hours. Think of the money that our communities are saved, that we did not have to pay someone to do all this. We didn't have to pay them to pick up garbage. We didn't have to pay them to serve the homeless. We didn't have to pay them to collect items and to distribute them. They volunteered, and they did it by themselves. But that's not all Kiwanis does. Kiwanis has 2 other programs that are near and dear to my heart, and these are called Kiwanis branded programs. And one of them is bringing up grades. It's called the Bug Program. I'm called the Bug Lady because that's how kids know me. And I go to Kroger and I'll hear, Mom, it's the Bug Lady. And that's a compliment. But bring up grades. We go into 3 different school districts in Ashland and Boyd County. We have 4 schools. And the bottom line with Bring Up Grades, any child can get bug recognition. Even those children who make D's and F's. Because the rule is, when you take one baseline grading period and you compare it to the next grading period, between those 2 grading periods, at least one grade, at least one, needs to come up and no grades can drop. I have seen children who have made D's and F's, and once that child has been recognized in an assembly in front of his or her peers and get a certificate, a pin, and a kids' meal card, and applause for doing something good, that child gets on a roll because that self-esteem is being built in that child from the ground roots. And they start them, if you have grades in your 3rd grade, letter grades, it would start there. Otherwise, it's 4th and 5th grade. And if your 6th grade is still in elementary school, it's there. And I know it works. I know the statistics. The program was begun in inner city Indianapolis. They track kids all the way through college. And I know in the city, in Boyd County, it works. It works. You give a child a chance to shine, no matter what level. And one other organization that we do is Terrific Kids, and this builds character. A child sets a goal on how he or she can show good character. There are guidelines. And then they work together with peers, and the peers help them. And if a child, like a lot of times in our school district, it's grading periods. Everything's grading periods, because that has an automatic cutoff. So, or sometimes it's weekly. But a child gets recognized for showing good character. Gets a certificate, gets a pencil, gets that certificate to go home, and in most cases, gets a picture taken. We're big on pictures. I have superintendent pictures, I have teacher pictures, I have the owner of Chick-fil-A right in the middle of the pictures because he's one of our sponsors. We've had McDonald's, we've had Superhero Creamery ice cream, different community partners, but we give pictures and then send home. And it makes a world of difference. You might say, what about kids that make straight A's? Well, that child that makes straight A's can be a mentor with teacher permission to a child who may need help with spelling words, may need help with math problems. And that child gets the next and maintains those straight A's. That child's regarded as a superbug. You're either a bug or you're a superbug, and both are great. So I know this, I have a passion for children, or I never would have stayed a teacher that long. I have a passion for Kiwanis, or I would never still be with Kiwanis. And I definitely would not have run for governor for Kiwanis if I didn't have that passion. I have 137 clubs in Kiwanis. We have over 4,000 members, and every one of our members has that passion for children and for community service. And I feel in my heart that I know the citizens of Elliott County have passion for children. You have a passion for community service. You love your community. You want them to grow. You want leaders. You want your leaders to stay and become the next people sitting in your courtrooms in charge. You don't want them to leave, but you're going to have to train them. You're going to have to encourage them. You're going to have to let them know they are leadership material. And you can do that with the Kiwanis program. And as a governor, I'm going to leave you with one thing. My personal closing. This is the first time I got to wear my governor's shirt. My own motto obviously has to have children on it. Every paper I send out to my constituents has children plastered on it. But my motto, Kiwanis serving the children of the world. Mine, coming out of COVID and having known what the kids have had to go through, now more than ever, kids need Kiwanis. And now more than ever in Elliott County needs Kiwanis. But Kiwanis needs you, each and every one of you, to back us. We'll come help you. Nothing's left to chance. We have the most fantastic educational system to build programs. You don't have to worry about anything. And if you don't understand it, we'll send you people. We'll send you people. I get to go to Murfreesboro, Tennessee this weekend. That's about a 7-hour drive to go see my people. But I'll do it because I love it, and I love Kiwanis. And I know each and every one of you will too. So thanks for your time, and I hope we're hearing from you soon.
Great job.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank
You see why I brought Lamb here, right? I'll tell you, if there were kids, we got a key club down there with such a hurt. She'd be down there eating corn. But any other questions you have on that about SLP? If you want to ask any questions about starting a new club, we have the newest club officers right here. Is there anything else you want us to touch base on?
The kids typically maybe start in like K kids or something like that, and they just morph over to the builders and then to the Key Club and then your college program. They kind of follow the track.
Start early, work your way up.
It's a
I
railroad track.
like that.
It's a railroad track.
It's like anything else, you gotta start from the bottom, build up, but you gotta start.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
gotta start,
also.
you never happens.
And let me tell you, the secret to keeping your Kiwanis club alive once you get it established is this.
Yeah,
Because if you, and that's the problem we're running into in Morgan County, is that we don't have these.
thank you.
And we're having problems,
don't have a
we got a
feeder
good club, but that's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
lot
fair.
of problems in the community. You gotta start with the kids and start teaching them these things, and then they become Kiwanis. When they come out of high school, come out of college, and come back to your community.
How long does it take to start one?
We can start a club, I mean, if it comes in and we get the names, and people want, I got applications back there right here tonight, we can start, if anybody here wants to join. But it's a matter of days. We'll bring in a team of people in here, and we will sit down, we'll get a room somewhere, and bring them in there, and we will sign them up, we'll get them up, we'll get club coaches. I'm a club coach. I will come over here and coach your club on what they need to get started. Lynn was the club coach for Grayson. She stayed with and became a member of that club. And we're willing to come in and do whatever we need to help you. We will not leave you. If you start this club, we're not going to leave you alone. You will have a club coach here, you'll have district help, and you got your governors right here in Eastern Kentucky right now for the district. This is a great year to start a club.
One of my goals.
Yeah, we want to get another club here in Eastern Kentucky. You got the governor vice governor here now.
Mr. Johnson, did you have something, sir?
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of brag a little bit on on what we've done in Grayson. We took 2 schools and actually just went to one. And there's a TRICE program where you have handicapped kids, whether they have problems with upper extremities or lower extremities, and we bought TRICE for them. And we put them in the school, actually I gave them to the parents of the kids. And the kids that we gave them to, they brought them back to school, and that's their ways of transportation in the schools. They ride these trikes. And if they have leg problems, it's like a tricycle. If they have upper body problems, they use the arms to motivate. So we put 2 in there. And we've also put about 65 to 70 computers into homes where computers were non-existent.
That's correct.
And we have an organization down in Tennessee that'll take computers, and Stephanie and I are getting ready here pretty soon to take, I don't know, 15 or 20 computers down. They'll take old computers and they'll rebuild them. Now, you may not get yours back, but somebody in Chattanooga may get one of them. But I made 2 trips down. I brought 40 back one time, and I brought 32 back the next time, and we give it about the kids.
They'll get a computer with a printer, paper, the whole works.
The monitor.
Programs, everything's set up, so it's all inclusive deal, which worked out wonderful with COVID, kids being, at home with no access to computers. They got a free setup.
It was one of the problems when we brought that second one back. It was March the 16th, which was a bad day. And we didn't get those computers actually passed out till sometime in June of that year. So it took us a couple of months to actually get into the schools where it was safe for us to get into the schools because of the COVID. Right now, of 137 chapters in Kentucky, Tennessee, actually we're number 1.
Great job.
In number of new members. That's what we're kind of proud of right now.
Absolutely.
As a former school teacher, ma'am, where in communities such as ours, smaller communities, Jim, I'm sure you know, Stephanie's from here, school teachers, business professionals, churches, is that what you see that kind of gravitate toward this organization?
People who have time to help donate. I mean, it's great to have business leaders. I'm not against that either. We have lots and lots of business leaders and lawyers and accountants and whatever, but you also want your workers, the people that understand your community. You want a variety of everybody involved, because that way there's something for everyone.
Right.
And interest for everyone.
Yes. In our club, we have, if you go down the list, we've got school teachers. I'm a retired school teacher. We've got bankers, military
veterans.
Yeah.
The mayor.
Our mayor. President vice president of the college, superintendent of schools are all our members. So, it's a whole gamut. It takes everybody to work with everybody.
You'll get special skills from each of those people will bring to the club and help the club out. And if somebody has some logistics, you can definitely, you have that background.
The more people you have, the more needs you can learn about, because everybody, has their outlets. So you go where there is a need.
Talk to your school resource officers, find out what those kids really need, what's going on. All the school resource officers know what's going on, and they know what's going on in the homes, what's going on in the community. And they can bring that knowledge to you and help you take that back to your club and see how you can create a program that's going to help benefit those kids.
My wife, that's consider up here.
A couple questions for you.
That'd be great.
Do you all need like a building or a facility to meet, or can you do people typically, you can use our church?
For our youth groups or for our adult groups?
For your adult groups to have your meetings?
We meet at the Y.
We meet at the college. We meet at her bank when COVID was going on.
Okay.
We did things with Zoom.
Okay.
We can do
I didn't know if you all needed like
A lot of
maybe a high
places-
school
We could be
library or something.
anywhere. After the tornado in West Liberty, I think we went through 8 facilities. We met
I
at
imagine
Catholic
so.
Church, the Methodist Church.
We have a library that's really close to here.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. That or a senior citizens building that's really close to here.
Either or.
Very close.
We'll make sure we meet your needs if there's.
Library is perfect. My goal is books. Get books in the hands of kids and read to them. So that would be ideal.
And how much is typically for if somebody wanted to be a member? What is the
Well,
membership fees?
We charge $100.
Kiwanis International expects $97.
Yeah.
That's the beginning of the year dues. It
So-
goes.
You can set $150 if you want to.
Yeah.
It's up to you. We
Well,
just
you can find other avenues to make it more. I mean, that's up to the club, what the club does.
Okay.
Under, legally. And we'll talk to you about that, when we get, everybody together. But they're, $97, there's some clubs, they charge, for their meals. My club, we don't. We actually have one of our members, we actually saw him out, we targeted him and brought him in, he's a caterer. So he caters our meals. And, our meals run about $7 to $10 a meal, and we just pay as we eat, we come in. Other clubs, they go ahead and put that into the dues. No, really a fan of that, but you can do that. It's up to the club, whatever you want to do.
Kiwanis values any former student leadership member also, and they give that person a first year dues free.
Yeah.
So you join.
Now, our next meeting is next Thursday. At Kentucky Christian. It starts at 12. It's in the cafeteria
In conference room.
and the conference room, and your meal is $4.75.
Wow.
And I'll guarantee you,
It's delicious.
it's one of the best meals that you'll ever
Do you
eat.
still go down there and eat at KCU?
Yeah,
I know people used to go down there all the time. They can go over and load up for $4.
yeah, it's $4.75 now.
Okay.
But, that's what we're starting to do now.
Next Thursday, right?
Not this Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Club installation, that'd be a good time.
Yeah, it's
Installation.
our installation.
So Thursday, the 18th at 12 p.m.
12, so you're just a little bit early because you'll have to go through a line like a college kid.
KCU cafeteria.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it costs you $4.75. And like I said, get there a little bit early, go through the line, and then come on back and you can see what we have to go through. We didn't start off office.
See, actually, installations.
I had a Zoom call that morning, and I don't remember what that looks like. It's on my computer at work. If I'm not on that Zoom call, I'll try my darndest to be there.
You can say it with me instead.
Well, it's, I'll take a shower that morning.
If you can't make that meeting, Kiwanis and West Liberty, we meet every Monday we meet. That's another thing, you can set when your club meets, that's up to you. You can meet once a month, you can meet whatever day, twice a month, that's up to the club, what it wants to do. We meet weekly because we're so busy. Like I said, 18 fundraisers we did in 1 year. We are constantly out there, and that's not even counting our service programs. So we meet weekly just so we can keep up. But we meet on Mondays at noon in the commercial bank,
And we meet once a month, and we're gonna start meeting more than that, I believe.
You're gonna have
We got a $48,000 project that we're after, and maybe even more. So we're gonna start meeting a little bit more.
And here's another thing. If you go through the paperwork, you can become a foundation of 501c3. My club did that, a lot of clubs are doing that now. And once you do that, then you can start writing grants and get involved in that. And there's some things that we're looking at, working with the University of Kentucky, some programs that we might be able to get into because of our 501c3.
The individual clubs.
The individual club itself, yeah. We are a 501c3. We also have the Kentucky Tennessee District Foundation. I'm president of that this year. And through that, we help with grants to Kiwanis parents and grandparents. If you have a kid, we have scholarships. We give out, I think it's 15 this year. Yeah, 15. We also help with the track that he was talking about. You can apply to us and we'll give you $250 to go toward buying that track for 12. If you have a special project that you're doing, you can apply to the foundation. We might be able to help you with that. We have several things out of that we can help with clubs and communities. There's a huge umbrella here of services that can come your way once you get that adult club started.
And if y'all decide to get going, I'll come up and help Jim and help Lynn. I'll even make phone calls to my relatives over in Iceland, because I'm an Iceland, a Wheeler, and a Butcher. It's in Buffalo, so I'm related to 90% of the people.
Yeah, we just started clubbing, you see them?
Your grandfather was a sheriff in Elliott County?
Pat Iceland,
Matt Isom.
Matt Doc Jack.
Matt Duke, Clyde, Matt Gilbert, Dr. Chad.
There you go. That's it. That's that group.
You're Alan's cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know your whole family, they know me.
Spoke about a main project that each club, I guess, has started. Is that something that's partly funded by the international Kiwanis, or is that all funded through the local Kiwanis?
So that's all coming on local Kiwanis. Where that's us, that's where you need your ground troops.
It's usually what you're best known for in the
Yeah.
community. Like in Ashland, the oldest club is Ashland Noon. They have done the Kiwanis Bowl for like 65 years or something, which is between two 9th grade football teams. It's always been Russell Ashland, and because of a problem in the last minute, it was Ashland Ward County this year. But that's their signature. They're known everywhere for that. They're going to be known for their park. They're known for their park, among other things.
Yeah, we have Trinkway Park, Kiwanis Trinkway Park, around Christiansburg. Kiwanis owns that. We used to own the pool in the park down there in the tennis courts. We turned that over to the county. And that's, that's something that you can do. I mean, you can shoot for that and create your own playground. It's up to your club and what dreams you have and what you want to do to control.
Thank you all. Thanks for taking the time out of your schedule to come see us.
Judge, Ashes, and Court, we appreciate you listening to us tonight, and we'll get out of your way now, so you get on with your business.
You can stick around, we don't mind.
Just don't miss an opportunity, folks.
Take my decorations down.
Yeah, if you got questions for me, you want to talk to me, I'd be glad to.
I have Jim's contact information. We're texters. We'll bounce ideas off each other occasionally.
Get my number, and I'll.
Thank you.
Anything else, talk to you, you got to.
Thank you all, appreciate it.
Okay, number two, I sent you all pictures of this truck. Approved to jump a 1995 Chevy pickup.
So moved.
Second.
That's all right.
Yeah, get rid of that thing, quick.
Motion by Dewey with a second. Johnny's over here is wanting to see this truck. A second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? That's it. All in favor, signify by saying aye. It's, I'll show you in a minute. Number three, approve a surplus, take bids on a bush hog. Now, before you, I just want to throw my 2 cents worth if you allow me. I would put a reserve on this. It looks like it did come from the state. It does have those state spray painted numbers on the side. When I asked Rodney to shoot from the hip and give me about an approximate value of what he thinks the bush hog was worth, Rodney said, as it sits right now, and I'll preface this with I have never seen, I've been in office 2 years and 10 months, I've never seen this bush hog operate. So I can't tell you that you can put it on your PTO and turn it on and get rolling now. But Rodney said as it sits, it's a 6-foot bush hog. Most bush hogs now are about 5 or 4. This is a 6-foot, it's heavy construction. Rodney thinks between $500 and $600 is what it would be worth to somebody that was selling from farmer to farmer. So that was kind of Rodney's shooting, and that was Rodney looking at it and saying, I'd say $500 or $600.
Pull behind. Pull behind.
It is a pull behind, yes, sir.
Is that the picture that you sent us?
That was the picture, that was also the picture I sent you all today. We haven't used it since I've been in office. And I have had interest, I've had more than one ask me if the county would consider selling it, and I said, I don't have a problem with it. Rodney didn't have a problem with it because we've not used it.
Does it work?
At last use it worked. I have not hooked it up to a tractor and plugged the PTO in and revved it up to see if it's going to roll right. I would recommend anybody that bought it bid to understand that the gearbox probably needs changed out in it. It probably needs new fluid in the gearbox and it needs grease, I'm sure. And then I I hook it up, try to run it. But it's made of heavy gauge steel. It's one of the older.
What is it? Is it a woods or a?
Let me look at the.
I couldn't tell from the.
Couldn't tell on the picture.
I couldn't tell.
I'll look here.
Kind of look like it might be an old woods.
Go back.
I got the picture there.
I'll look at the one that said Cheyenne.
There's more pictures.
That's been my gift for years.
It says, is there a Bush Hog brand?
Yeah,
Yes, there's
This is a
Bush
Bush Hog brand.
good brand.
All right, so that's what's on the side of it right here. It says Bush Hog on the
You got
side.
better eyes than I got.
Yeah, I guess.
So you just want us to bid it with a
I would like for you all to allow me to take bids, and then us.
minimum bid of $600?
We don't have to accept the bids. We don't have to accept the bid, do we, John?
No, you can.
No.
We can reject the bid.
Yeah,
So like, we don't have to put reserve.
well, if you do it with a reserve of $500 to $600, you're telling them, don't come in here with a bid less than that. That already tells them, is it worth my time to bid? Am I willing to give this minimal amount for this? Or is this the maximum that I will bid? By not telling them that, then you're gonna get a lot of $200 and $300 bids,
Okay.
which is what I would do. I would bid $150 on that thing all day long.
Well, yeah.
But again, shooting from the hip, I would just ask that you all consider somewhere between the $400 and $600 range. I don't expect the county to make a killing on this, but at the same time, if this is a useful piece of equipment and implement for a tractor and a farm, you change out the gearbox or change the fluids in the gearbox, it's probably potentially ready to roll.
So how big is the bush hog we're using now behind our tractor?
I'm not using any bush hog behind the tractors. We're using sidewalls.
Okay,
Everything we have is sidewalls, and then we have the extended arm.
okay.
So that's something we wouldn't need no way.
Well, I haven't used it since I've been here at Rodney. I don't think Rodney's used it since he's been with the county. If we had a piece of property that we mowed 4 times a year or 3 times a year, perfect. Or even twice a year. We don't, that's not something we have at this time.
I make a motion that we surplus to take bids on the bush hog for no less than $400.
Second.
Second.
I think that's fair, and then whatever else, it just.
That'll allow for maintenance too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm thinking if they had a big change out that gearbox, it could be a little more expensive.
I've got a motion by Dewey with a second by Cheyenne. Cheyenne, did you get the motion? Okay, 400. Is there any further discussion? All right, and we will accept these bids, beginning tomorrow, and I'll put it in the newspaper, and then we'll probably have a special, tell you what, we will be having a special meeting the second week of December. We can open it then, if that's okay. We're not gonna have a regular meeting in December because it's right close to Christmas, and I'm gonna have a meeting, we'll do that then if that's okay. All right, so let me look on the calendar.
Works for me.
The second Tuesday of December instead of the third. So it'll be December, we will open the bids December the 14th.
I would ask that maybe possibly in the future, when we do the special meetings, we possibly do it at 6, because a lot of times I don't know when I'm gonna be able to make it here.
Okay,
With a new job.
all right, I'm fine with it. All right, so 6 PM, December the 14th, here, we'll open the bids. All right, we'll take them, and the minimum bid is $400. With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, number 4 was kind of I'll discuss it. I don't think we're there yet. Approved to take bids on architectural plans for Addison Field Recreational Center. I've been emailing back and forth, and this has gone through several. You've got archives, you have you have Division of Water, and there's several emails back and forth. There was a lady that sent me an email, and she wanted a litany of information. And part of that was a drawing. Well, she has a drawing, but this stuff is going to have to be updated. My thought was she wanted it updated ASAP before the end of November, or it would have to wait until the spring. Today, I called Doug Pinkerton with FIFCO several times yesterday and didn't get a hold of him, so I had to put it on the agenda just in case. Well, Doug called me earlier and he said, "Stop, Judge. I've got every bit of this ready to turn in. You're good to go with your old architectural drawing. When this goes on down the path, if you want to get it in, plus we're going to need, once we get the drawings of the architecture of this facility, then we're going to need to put it out for bid on the pieces that are done as they're.
Question,
Yeah.
can you explain the Addison Field Recreation Center, what it is?
We received a land water grant. It was a 50-50 grant, up to $45,000. So it's assumed that it will cost at least $90,000. It's a restroom with a concession stand and changing rooms and an in garage to go with the soccer field south of San Diego. And that was, that began before COVID. We were awarded $45,000 from the governor, and then COVID hit directly after that, and everything went south. We picked it back up in May of this year, and now we're to the point where we're getting these documents sent in, and the state is running with it. They had to make sure that there wasn't a Civil War monument on the property. They had to make sure that certain homes hadn't been built on the property. I had to get 2 folks to give me signed affidavits saying to their knowledge that that was not some kind of reservation. Anytime that you're dealing with land water, there's all kinds of things you've got to go through. And now we were at floodplain, and from my understanding, we made it through floodplain, but I was also told that absolutely nothing will be approved to be built beyond that, because it is a floodplain beyond that, down toward the creek. And I was fine with that. But we're moving along. So I would like to just roll on past this, but I did want to give you an explanation of why I came to this. I was thinking that they needed something before the end of November, and FICO already had it, but I didn't get a hold of him, so I put it on the agenda in case I needed this case in the hall.
Make your motion to table it.
Well, how long are we looking before we're actually gonna start building this?
It's gonna be a while.
Okay.
I'll second.
Because we'll have to, this was, it's gonna be approved for $45,000. We've also got to come up with whatever's left. So if it's $140,000 to build it, we've got to figure out how to get the remaining balance of that. So 45, we would need to come up with $95,000. We'd have to figure that out. So as this goes through and I start seeing approvals, then we're going to start putting pen to paper there. I've got ideas, I just don't, I'm not ready to discuss.
So why is our $90,000 project jumped to $140,000 project?
The price of materials and labor have gone up tremendously since COVID.
Anything.
Just
along
checking.
those lines.
Yeah, and we're going to be going for concrete, we're going to be going for plumbing, electrical, and carpentry work as well. So, you know, I just know it's going to jump. I can still shoot for 90, but you're probably going to get a third of what you got that was 92 years ago.
You need another
So the
motion?
$45,000 that the governor gave, that's a grant?
The grant is $90,000 match. So it's 45, they will pay a maximum of 45, so we've got to spend at least 90. That was their part of the match, so the state of Kentucky will give us 45.
What time frame do we have? Well, they say, well, we haven't done nothing, we're dead in the water.
We're doing it now.
Okay.
This is the process. You have to go through, they send you paperwork, you go through the paperwork, you send them back paperwork. They send, it then moves this far. They send you more paperwork. You go through the process, you send them back. She's seen it. And this is where we are today. And so I'm confident it's going to happen. But when COVID hit, everything just stopped. Because people were emptying their desks and going home and working from home, and they were only doing the basic things that they needed for the Department of Local Government. You name it, and that's kind of how it went down in Frankfurt. But they were still offering services to the counties, but it was cut back tremendously.
There's no timeline on the 45 that they've matched.
We're within the timeline. When they send you something, you have so long to get that back, and then they send you something else. FICO is now holding my hand through this process. So the last email I received, well, it's not the last email I received, the last email requesting information that I received said it must be turned in, this section of it must be turned in by November the 30th. And so he has it. And he said, I'm going on vacation the rest of the week. I'll be back Tuesday. I'll get this filled out and I'll get it submitted, and she'll have it on her desk next week, which is 2 weeks earlier. And so once she gets that, we'll move on another step. I wish it was as easy as just, yeah, you're approved, go do it. It doesn't really happen. But it should come with the caveat that you get this money. However, if you don't do this, and this step, you will not receive this money. That's actually what comes back, and then the steps begin. insert global pandemic, and everything kind of got done. But we're moving. Yes, sir.
Do you have to be tied to that specific project, or can you say,
No.
hey, we got 90,000, what can we get for 90?
No. If you change it in one way from what I went to the government and I asked for this, that's what they're giving me. If I change it from that to go, say I wanted to take it from Addison Field to another area in the county, you start from scratch.
I don't mean like move, but can you say, hey, we can't afford a bathroom, a concession stand, a garage, we can get a bathroom in a garage, or we can get a concession stand in a bathroom, but I mean, like to cheapen the price to make it to where you want to put in no more than 90 if financial.
I don't know that we can get in for 90 because I want to build it as a bomb or not a bomb. I want to build it as a storm shelter. And that's one of the contingencies. It was approved. It was approved on was I told them we would build the walls out of concrete so that entire area up there would have a storm shelter if they were playing soccer or they were the 4-H were showing livestock and something of that nature come rolling down through there, or the daycare with Northeast going back in up there at some point. You've got a place to take the children. And whenever I wrote this up and submitted it, that was in this submittal. So that would be used against me if I come back and said, all right, now I know we're going to build out of concrete, but I want to build it out of straw. But it's cheaper. That kind of 3 little pigs notion, no, it's not going to happen that way. The house will blow down. So does that make sense? I wanted to make sure that I had this just in case that I needed to roll with it, but Doug's telling me everything's fine. He had enough to fill that out. So we're good. We're rolling. We're good. Listen, this was a. I moved back home in 2014, and they were using the blue cans up there. I was watching little elderly folks walk in there to use the facility instead of having an actual restroom to go into. It made me just ill. And I go to these other communities and these other counties with sports parks, and they have a clean restroom. You open the door, they have a stall. You can use the stall. Little kids have a place to change. And we either change in the car, we stay behind the building, or we go in that blue, smelly can.
This is something I've asked for years and years on end.
It's not right. So I'm going to use whatever latitude I can legally to try to get this built up here. I want to see it built in calendar year 2022, but I also wanted to see it built in calendar year 2019, and things happened in 2020. So, but we're moving. I'm glad to see it's moving. So I don't think Johnny, I don't think I need a motion. We can just roll on, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Approve the amended, number 5, approve the amended water line extension amount. Here's what happened there, guys and ladies. We had an original amount of 1,800 feet. They come back in whenever the contractor got there. They laid their pipe down the ditch and they were short 400 feet of pipe. And we had another citizen on the road decide that they wanted water. And so instead of 4 citizens on the road, 4 homes on the road that got, or 3 homes on the road that got water, 4 of them wanted water. And I said, go ahead. So what I'm asking you to approve is the resolution, an amended resolution, so we can pay this for 410 extra feet of water line and another tap. That's essentially why I put the amended resolution in front of you, because the cost went up whenever we needed more material.
I'll make a motion.
We're on taps also. We're paying for water taps also.
We paid for the water taps on all 4.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got a motion by Emily. I'm sorry, did someone say?
Yeah.
I apologize. Dewey, the second Dewey. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. And number 6, approve to pay Brick Heating and L&L Millworks for B. Wagner Road Bridge. That bridge was re-floored, and we used 80/20 money from Frankfurt. And we just need to pay the piper so we can turn those in and the state can reimburse them.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dewey, and second by Pam. Is there any further discussion? That's it. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 7, approve to pay Wells Creek Sunday School and middle school cheerleaders for trash for cash.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion by Emily, with a second by Pam. Is there any further discussion? That's it. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. And number 8, approve the advanced disposal contract Advanced Disposal got us a contract here a couple of weeks ago, and initially when it rolled out, it was a little, there was a few things that I didn't like. So I sent it back to them and asked them to revise it, and this is the revised version that I have in front of you.
Did you get your revisions?
I did.
What were some of those?
They wanted me to do the building, and that was not what we agreed to.
They wanted us to build it through like the office.
Yeah, they wanted the girls, the ladies here to do the building.
Yeah, I wasn't real crazy about that.
That's, it had told me in July, but they hit me with it in September or early October, and I said, we're just not prepared yet. It's nothing. So I sent it back, and they revised that and sent it back to us.
So I heard in this contract that they still want to furnish the cans that they said they would.
Yes, but he won't order until this is approved. He said his boss, who is now with Waste Management, the world's largest garbage collector, he said his boss is not letting him order any of those cans, and he said there's a 6 to 8 week lead time. So he said timing is of the essence.
So is he gonna give it, what time did he give you for all those cans?
He wants to have it, he asked me if I could find a spot for him to store them before they're distributed in Elliott County, and I said, I'll supply that. We'll find a spot for all those cans. Because what happens is they'll come in on tractor trailers, and they'll offload them somewhere. Well, I'll provide that. I'll make that happen. And then they will be distributed from a location here in the county.
And there's still not gonna be no charge to the customer?
Not for one, but if you go more than one, then yes, you would be charged.
$9.75 per month, that's down back here.
Right. The fee is still the same?
Yeah, $19.50.
They still going under the name Advanced Disposal.
If you look at the contract, the first, you can see it here. It says, this amendment to agreement for Crystal and I look this up. This amendment to agreement for residential solid waste collection services is entered by and between Elliott County, Kentucky, the county, acting by and through its county commission, and Advanced Disposal Services Solid Waste Midwest LLC contractor, an indirect subsidiary of Waste Management, Inc., acting by and through its duly authorized representative. So we will be paying the bill as Advanced Disposal, but they are an indirect subsidiary of Waste.
Yeah, they bought.
The names just staying the same, just kind of.
I don't, they changed all the trucks, everything. They said Waste Management. They took the Advanced Disposal off all the trucks.
And I saw one yesterday.
Yeah, they were stripping them all back when I was working over there.
Good change.
Now, current contracts just carry over, so if you're getting
Yes.
what you are now,
Yeah.
then just go right on, nothing change.
I got a bill today, I just want to make sure it is.
I'm here January 1 is when they will change.
I have one question, and I think I already know the answer to this, but I want to bring it out anyway. I've been asked about these bins we're providing. People cannot continue to use what they have, you know?
No, because there will be a cutoff that they have set there, not here. And he said, listen, Myron, once these new ones are available, we will not pull out old ones. And the reason being, I'll say it again, is because of bees, snakes, rats, raccoons, and other undesirable things that take shelter and yeah, they live in those things. And he said that the goal that Waste Management has, and you've got to remember they've been in this business a long time, the goal that they have is to stop at your property and the wheels be moving again in 15 seconds or less. Or their drivers or their trucks will tell them their drivers, because they will begin to put the detection systems in the vehicles that know if the truck, and if you're a truck driver, you already know this, you're watching from the time you start the truck until you stop the truck. And everything in between, you hit the brakes too hard, it tells on you. Same thing's going to happen with these. So what they want is the wheels roll. If they've got to raise your homemade bin up and a snake runs out and they jump or bees come out on you, then that's longer than 15 seconds. Plus, they also will be documented for no pickup because of their customer service. They want to make sure that they stop, they get your garbage, and they move on. And anything that holds that up, other than flipping open their big plastic can and grabbing the bags and putting them in and taking off in the road, anything that holds that up, it's going to tell them. And these men and ladies have to keep moving. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're tracking, speed tracking.
Exactly. The trucks will be they will be notified if they can't get in and get to the next property. They want to make sure. And the goal is, whenever they hire these employees, they let them know if you're on that truck, 15 seconds is your stop, move on.
Well, today, we had garbage pickup today, and there was a driver, and there was somebody on the back. And before, there wasn't. There was the driver would get out and get the garbage, put it in, and then get back out there.
That could be training, that could be something they're working on. That's interesting. But, they just,
I've had different times where they've been one, sometimes they're two.
I would say in training situations,
I would think so.
definitely be someone riding with someone else.
Yeah.
I would think so. But it's about expediency, and in the below $20 price point is that expediency. If they're going to give us a can on loan, and they're going to give us a below $20 price point per month, they're going to expect something in return. They don't want to be at your house digging through old waste and whatever else may run out or stain them, because that's a real danger for someone if they have to carry an epic in. Man, anaphylactic shock is real. So that's kind of their take from their gift. They expect to stop, get your garbage, and head on down the road, just like they would if they were somewhere else.
So if you've got that garbage bin, and it's full, can you set one beside of the bin?
I would say for now, yes, but I'm not them. I wouldn't have a problem with it, again, I'm not them.
No.
Also in the agreement, it shows how many gallons that they'll pick up. But I've been told by management that the driver isn't about necessarily counting the bags, he's about counting his time there. So an extra bag, I wouldn't think would be a problem necessarily. 12 extra bags might be a problem, but you remember he's on the clock.
As long as he can pick the container up over there, he's probably gonna be good.
Yeah, because remember, his part of his bonus or his pay is going to be based on expediency. Get in, get your trash, and on to the next customer.
So eventually he said they want to get to where they're just going to do driver's truck. The driver don't even get out of the truck.
Yeah.
They grab it, dump it, go next, grab it, dump it,
And roll on.
roll on. They don't even exit the truck.
Which keeps them on your roads that much less.
And it's much safer on that driver and pedestrian.
Yes, sir.
Other people.
I heard two terms. I heard a bin and a can. Is there a bin and a can?
No,
Or
same.
we're talking about one.
There is a plastic 96-gallon plastic with a top like you would see Rubbermaid make. I have one at my house with a plastic flip top that lays back, bags go in, shuts on wheels that you roll down to the road at curbside and you leave it there. They stop again.
So it's just one option, right? One big bin, is that like the traditional trash can?
No, if they want that one bin, which will be provided to your household, with, I'm sure.
You can get an additional bin for what was it, $9?
$9.75.
$9.75.
It's like 6 bags is what I've heard before. Like they would, 6 bags was what.
99 gallon. So the bins are 96. So
I know like a lot of residents have gravel driveways. And I'm a push the bin down gravel driveway. Is this something that can be permanently at the end of the road when they're?
Well, if you're going into being responsible for that can, if nature tore it up, he said they look at replacing it, but if not, you'll let us replace it if they let it blow off or.
More or less,
Two big buckets, so it's all in there.
Yeah, because you know, it's a lot of tough for somebody pushing that down gravel, you got to pull the trash.
Be nice.
And, I know like whenever you make changes, you have a lot of people have questions about it. Is that something that your office will have to handle, or do y'all direct those situations, like people complain about the cans or the bins or whatever, is that something that you can pass on to the third customer service on handle?
They can call
You
you.
have to take those calls and deal with them.
We take all calls.
So I take them and I call, and sometimes they'll just call the county. So it is good.
I just know that when we do things, changes in school, they call the district. You know, get a lot of calls and just didn't know that's something that they'll have to do with. You know, say, well, that was part of the contract we had to do. You know, that you have something that you can use to.
Well, I've got the contract, anyone's welcome to come see it. We'll go over about the copy of the contract.
That's great, I think it's a great
For the
idea.
second part.
Yeah.
I understand the driver's point. Hoping those things up.
That's for commercial.
oh, like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can tell you $19.50 is cheaper than another county that's real close to us, they're up around the $25 a month range. So he was giving me some examples, and so I was very thankful. I said, we've got to be below 20. We just, come on. And it went at 20, I said, and it got down to 1950, and at some point I had stopped, because then I was afraid it was going to take away the free can, and say, all right, then $3 a month. No, $1950. It's kind of one of those where you worked as long as you could, and you took it.
Hey, Myron, and Emily was talking, are they still gonna do the discount if you pay yearly?
Let's see.
I didn't see that.
Because I'm thinking they did offer a discount if you paid for an entire year, you got.
I'll see it in
One month free for your life.
Lot that in your place. 1 month free if you pay.
Yeah.
I mean, all I see is the senior citizen discount, I didn't see anything else.
Has the residential premises, and then the senior citizen, and the light commercial, but that's all, and then it talks about the dumpster, and then the roll-off.
Well, didn't they say they was gonna do away with senior citizens discount?
That's what they told us.
He said there was no such thing, but
Yeah, they tried to tell us that there was no such
they don't
thing.
use that
They
term.
don't use disability.
Disability.
They went away from disability.
It's senior citizen age 65, according to the contract.
From 1383 to 17.
And they have to prove their age.
They didn't have no calculation.
And that's doubled.
They dropped it
What's
off.
the age?
So page 449.
Senior citizen, $17.55 per month. Light commercial solid waste, $19.50 per month, 1 can only. And then residential premises, $19.50 per month. However, an additional can on light commercial premises is $15. I do not see a yearly pay discount. I'll ask him about that. But I think I was pressing about as far as I could press people. Well, I'll call him first thing in the morning, I'll let you guys know.
So basically, the senior citizen will be classified as age 65, and it will drop about $2.95 at $17.55 per month, what I'm seeing there.
Yeah, $19.50 and $17.55 per month, senior citizen.
And that's all discounting I see. Everything else is
And it also says here, the county has sole responsibility for determining which residential premises customers qualify for senior citizen discounts.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be a lot of phone calls, that's what I'm thinking.
They're all 65 and older right now,
Well,
so.
I was thinking, you know, people got their first bill until 1950, they be wanting you to call.
Yeah, I don't expect a lot of.
We get it.
So
If they raise them just a few cents, I get calls from them, I'm sure.
okay, but in order to sign, will they have to come to you?
Brian says you get calls like it's nothing doesn't happen.
No, that's getting way worse.
We get the calls.
If someone's got a problem with their senior citizen discount saying that I'm age 65, I have to come to you with identification of I'm 65 years old.
Yeah, just your
And then
ID.
you can prove,
I don't
you know,
get consent.
that's all they have to do is bring it to the judge's office, or you can take care of it.
Yeah.
We're happy to. If we can get them a discount, we're happy to do it. That's why we're here. 65. Glad.
Do we need a motion on that?
Yes, you have to allow me to sign a contract.
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution.
I got one other thing. What happens if we don't get these cans in the time that they're saying?
They'll have to.
Come January 1, they're paying $19.50.
They'll have to work with us to pick up the existing, way that the trash is held. If it's held.
Yeah, because I don't think it'd be right for people to be paying the higher price.
They have been really good to work with. Anytime that
I'm just saying, they may not be able to get the cans.
Yeah. No, and this is what my response is to that. They have been extremely good to work with. If I call them with a problem and I say, listen, this just isn't right, they'll say, what's your best judgment? And I'll say, well, this is what we need to do to take care of the customer. Okay, we'll run with it until that solution, so a real solution to that is come up with. If they don't have to for January 1, we'll work to make sure we still get the customer, citizen, depending on which angle you look at it from, we get their trash collected. I've gone more than once out to houses and gotten trash just because. And it wasn't because someone did not pay a bill, it was because there were circumstances where the truck didn't make it, there were fees, and the truck driver refused, or some other extenuating circumstances where we feel that to be good stewards of the community, we need to go out and take care of the customer or the citizen. And I don't have a problem with that problem. And then they'll work with us. The gentleman that we deal with he's really good to work with. It's a lot larger company now, they're largest in the world, but they're working on their customer service by the day. And the biggest complaints we hear are, I call and I sit on hold forever. And we try to work through that too. Whenever that call immediately comes to Cheyenne tries to make sure that we expedite that concern to take care of it as fast as possible. We want them to get their trash picked up. And I don't mind at all jumping in one of our trucks or the blue one, mine, and we're out getting our garbage. If there are circumstances that warrant this customer, citizen being taken care of. Happy to do it. That's why we're here. Is that good? Mm-hmm. So did I have a motion?
Yes.
Charles made a motion?
Second.
You, okay, good. Sorry. Motion by Charles, a second by Pam. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Emily, second by Pam. Thank you all. Thanks for your time.